Good evening. Well, that's loud. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. Welcome to the 1524th lecture of our society. I'm Steve Shields, president of the Royal Asiatic Society Korea. I express RAS Korea's sincere gratitude to the Asia Development Foundation for their continuing financial support. You're cordially reminded that the lecture content does not necessarily reflect the opinions or positions of the Royal Asiatic Society Korea. Tonight, we are joined by this wonderful group of people here on the front row and throughout the room, a youth panel from Seoul Women's University under the tutelage of Dr. David Tizard. David and I kind of concocted this annual program a few years ago where some of his students would come and share whatever their thoughts were on whatever topics of the day were important to them. It's been, for me, one of the highlights of our lecture calendar. So tonight, when I call your name, do you mind standing just briefly? And because romanization is so funny, I might get the pronunciation wrong. Daeun Kang, who majors in communication and media. Eunjae, who studies in the Department of Chinese Language and Literature. Wow. She's also a dedicated student journalist, an esports enthusiast. She covers high-stakes tournaments like the League of Legends World Finals and interviewing the international teams at the PUGB Nation Cup. Say it slower. Okay, great. That's just PUBG. Okay. Subin is majoring in French literature. She creates her own multi-personas in social media spaces like Instagram. And Miso is studying industrial design. Let's give our panel a huge welcome. Are you the MC? Okay, take it away.
Hi guys, thank you for attending our presentation. We are RAS Youth Panel from Seoul Women's University, and I am Minso, who takes the MC role today. As to introduce myself and ourselves, we are Gen Z. It's selfish, indiscreet, and anti-society Gen Z. Do you guys agree? Let's take a look about it. Conforming the traditional way of society cannot be the only way to make a best living, isn't it? For example, always joining a get-together party or showing a burning desire as a rookie saying, yes, I can, unconditionally cannot be the always best way. We, Gen Z, put the most importance on the value we chase. Actually, those values are not that grandiose. For example, those are like things health, happiness, and variety or self-improvement. We are just working for our values in a more personal way in personal area, maybe through the katsing. Katsing is compound word including English word guide, which means guide, and Chinese word nariseng, which means life. The word's original meaning was living a real life during being a big fan of an idol. But soon it got a wider application. It's still expanding. By the way, the key sense, which means living a meaningful life, does not change so much as 1 millimeter. It's even getting solid, especially through COVID-19. Now on, katsing is general way of living Gen Z. It's not an exaggeration to say that katsing is part of Gen Z's life. Nowadays, living in katsing is pervasive on online and offline. By now, did you understand what katseng is? Yes, I know it's like pretty big. Then let's go together, closer look of katseng through four speakers. We are going to start with Kang. She's gonna speak about katseng with AI. Let's get a clap for her.
Hello, I'm Daeun, and I messed up my exams. Instead, well, it wasn't a mistake. Instead, it was a disaster. A big, huge, irretrievable disaster. Last year, as a freshman, I was excited that I got accepted to my dream school, so I decided to get perfect grades. On the first day of orientation, I heard that there wouldn't be a midterm for this class. But guess what? The syllabus was changed. And I didn't even realize there was a midterm until the day before the exam. Of course, I'm not one of those people who studies very deliberately in advance. But starting the day before the exam was the thing that had never happened in my life. The result was again disaster. Before diving into today's main topic, how undergraduate students use AI, I'd like to share what living my version of casting looks like. On January 1st, 2024, I made a plan to live casting this year. I set 3 daily routines and 3 goals for myself. The first was to go to bed before 2 a.m. It's tough since I have lots of assignments and team projects. But I tried to sleep earlier. Second, I made it a rule to drink 5 cups of water every single day. It might seem easy, but trust me, it's not. Finally, I decided to hit the gym at least 4 days in a week. Well, most weeks I managed to go 4 to 5 times a week. It's so hard to go to the gym, but once I get there, I feel so fresh and proud of myself. Move on to the next point. I also challenged myself to join an advertising conference since I'm majoring in advertisement. Being part of this conference is so fun and meaningful. We even throwed a booth to promote our activities. But honestly, it's a love and hate relationship because this is the main reason why I can't go to bed before 2 a.m. Another goal was to step out of my comfort zone by doing volunteer work and joining a club. As an introvert, meeting new people isn't my favorite thing. However, I know that I have to push myself sometimes to grow. So, I decided to join a volunteer club that helps elementary school students learn English. And this is my favorite student, Soyu. I'm not sure if I'm a good tutor or not, but I'm just trying my best. Now, I'll be honest. My MBTI ends with P, which means that I'm naturally more spontaneous than planned. But over the years, I've learned that I need some specific goals and plans. Remember, the exam disaster. That's why I started making plans and tried to stick to them. Well, but here's the game changer. I've been living a more productive and efficient life thanks to AI such as ChatGPT. For instance, when studying for exams, I input the scope of the exam, the number of subjects, and the amount of material to cover. Then it generates a tailored study plan just for me. Did I follow every single step perfectly? Of course not. But out of the approximately 50 exams I've been taking since elementary school, this was the one that I felt most confident in. It also summarizes the lecture. I would usually pull an all-nighter with coffee, but now I just take a look at a summarized part, and it saves my time and energy a lot. Moreover, it makes some questions for me, so this can be a really good help for me. Hold on for a while. Can you guess where it is? AI also transforms how I plan trips, a big part of my casting. You know, sometimes researching and organizing a travel plan can be exhausting, right? Especially when you're overwhelmed with information. And nothing feels worse than coming back from a trip and then you realize that you've missed something. AI solved these problems by saving money, finding must-visit places, and even calculating the detailed travel expenses. It can be a good friend for me because it helps me carry out my costing. So here's a tip. The more detailed your input, the better travel plans you'll get. I write down my destination, itinerary, and places I don't want to miss. This way, AI creates an efficient plan with optimized routes. Take this plan to Guam. For example, I traveled there in July. And my itinerary was 90% planned by ChatGPT and 10% of me. You know what? It was just perfect. Nothing went wrong. So I highly recommend trying it out for your next trip. This is me enjoying my best summer holiday ever. You can actually find out me smiling. Though I stand here and talk about costing, I used to be a person who would just be anxious without any plans. I was a person who would just lay down in bed all day, just merely worrying about the future. I realized that lying around like this was not helpful to my life. And I thought that it was more valuable to learn something in the process, even though I get struck, get bumped out, or get hurt. I didn't watch any special videos or read any special books. I just opened my eyes one day and thought that it was a waste of time to spend my youth on my bed. So that's the reason why I'm preparing to study abroad, an experience starting from scratch in a completely unfamiliar place. I'll have to find my housing, register for classes, and navigate daily life in a language that isn't my first language. I know it won't be glamorous like fancy exchange student vlogs on YouTube. I know that I'll probably feel lonely, and I will face a lot of challenges. But I see it as an opportunity to grow and get to learn about myself more. It's only been a half a year since I started my casting, so it might sound too short to talk about casting, because I'm still a beginner. But I just wanted to share my stories. For some, casting might be doing whatever they want without overthinking. For others, it might mean serving for the society. Or maybe simply just living in the moment can also be casting for some people. For me, it's about becoming the best version of myself. If someone asks me why I'm so focused on planning and efficiency, my answer is simple. For me, living a casting is just another way to love myself. It taught me the value of my time and the thrill of accomplishing goals, no matter how small it is. It gave me the courage to keep trying, even when things don't go as planned. Maybe I will still fail my exams. Maybe I might have lazy days some days. But it won't matter, because even those moments can be part of my casting journey. I hope you find your own unique way to live your own casting. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hesu and Miso. To me, living a casting means living with a positive outlook. And honestly, I think that's one of the hardest things to do these days. With that belief, we need a little extra courage to stand here today because we are all natural warriors. Also, that's actually why I have two names. In the past, I was Hesu, but now I'm Miso. So I'll tell you how this change happened. It involves my parents, Meme, Saju, and even pelicans. Have you ever read your Saju before? I think no one, right? In Eastern culture, we have Saju, which is a way of reading one's fortune based on various factors like your name, zodiac animals, and birth date. It's common for Koreans to check their Saju just for fun to go in these shops. As you can see, Korean Saju shops have very cozy atmosphere. You can see Saju vending machine and also Saju shop almost as casually as a coffee shop. However, the ones that are really popular get so busy that you have to make a reservation over a month in advance, and I did. As people and a lot of people believe that Saju can predict our fortune and our future. So I ended up changing my name because of it. So you can know how much it affects our lives here. People here often turn to Saju even for dating advice. For instance, my friend said, I heard I'm the most compatible with someone who is a tiger sign, referring to one of the 12 Chinese zodiac animals, which are a big part of Saju. Whether that's true or not, I'm not sure, but checking compatibility is almost as common as general dating, marriage, and also checking the academic studies advice. For many Koreans, reading their Saju is as popular as feels like a personal event that's meaningful and fun, even they are not believing it. One interesting part of Saju is discovering your dominant element. So there are 5 here: fire, wood, water, gold, and ground. My dominant color seems to be yellow, which represents ground, but I hardly have any blue. So maybe someday someone full of water will be a great match for me. When I was in high school, I was going a really tough time, so I decided to read my Saju with my family. And what I heard was really shocked me. The fortune teller told me this. To summarize, I had a weak fortune in old age and might not live a long life. Of course, I don't fully believe in Saju, but still it stayed in my mind. So maybe my family was just scared as I was. So even though I didn't want to take it seriously, but it stayed in my mind. Maybe that's how in this one day I ended up changing my name to Miso. Actually, my mom suggested it and I agreed, and my dad, well, he just went along with my mom's idea. And all of this happened with a single afternoon. So looking back, I guess my whole family gets word really easily. At the time, I hoped that my changing my name, any past bad luck could disappear and making room for good fortune and maybe even a long life. But changing a name is not as easy as it sounds. For 17 years, I was called by one name, Hesu, but adjusting to a new one, Miso, was really strange, even a bit challenging. In Korean, Miso actually spells smile. And imagine if you change your name to Smile, how strange would that feel? So for me, changing my name was less about changing my fate and more about creating a fresh perspective. As you see in a movie, when a main character decides to start over and leave their past behind, and even take a new name to their second chance in a life. Even Miso sounds far from the movie character, but as this, I thought I'll try to smile more and be a broader person. I think it's my new chance in my life. So this positive approach marked the beginning of what we call a casting. And now I'll say, oh, then I'm so lucky Vicky. Then let me ask, here anyone heard of Lucky Vicky before? No one. Then you're not Gen Z. As a Gen Z rep, I'll tell you. So some of you might have seen it as a meme. The concept of Lucky Vicky thinking originates from the positive mindset demonstrated by Chang Won-young, a K-pop member, K-pop group IVE. During one experience, she went to buy bread and she found that the kind she wanted was sold out. then usually people might be disappointed or annoyed by this situation, but she cheerfully said, "Oh, then I'll get freshly baked bread instead." So it's actually a good thing. And this optimistic perspective led to the creation of the term Lucky Vicky because her English name is Vicky. When we interpret the small and big problems we face in our daily lives with a positive outlook, then we might say, "I'm totally lucky Vicky, aren't I?" I think this meme isn't just a personal belief. It's become a huge trend of social media. The praise has been used in ads, news, Instagram, and TikTok. People share their own lucky moments and encourage each other with a hashtag, spreading the positive vibes. I think it's become a new trend for people to find and hold on to small and joyful moments in life. Now you might be thinking, already knows that positive thinking is important. And you're absolutely right. But we also know that actually practicing in our heads is much harder, isn't it? So I'd like to introduce you to another mindset, something called pelican thinking. It's a mindset inspired by the behavior of a pelican who often put things in its mouth and to see if they're edible or useful. It symbolizes just try it approach to life. It tells us to focus and try new things or methods instead of hesitating or fearing failures. Look at this image of pelican. There's no way it can swallow that animals. But do you see how it keeps trying? So pelicans don't stop to ask like, can I fit this in my mouth? Will I be able to eat this? Absolutely not. But they just go for it. So I want to encourage you to approach the challenges in your life the same way. Will we feel sometimes like this pelicans? Is it too much of a challenge for us? Of course you can think so. But if that doesn't work out, then we can just move on to next one. So that's eventually we'll find a perfect fish, like opportunities. That's just right for us. Actually, I wouldn't say I'm the type of challenges often like pelicans, but I've been working on steadily taking them on. Let me tell you one of them. It was last spring when I randomly came across a volunteer program recruiting people for overseas work. And I was in the positive mindset, the pelican thinking, and I thought, why not just apply? And I went for it too much thought, and after applying, I didn't even think about it much. But the moment I got the acceptance notice, all the words I hadn't had before just came rushing in. I thought, isn't Cambodia way too hot in the summer? Or I don't get along with the people. How about the food arrangements be okay? Looking back, these were things I can't control at all, but at the time they felt like serious concerns. But I bet you can guess what I'm about to say next. There was absolutely nothing to worry about it. Everything went great, except maybe the weather. I got along well with the crew. The volunteer work was actually fine. The first picture looks like the first day, and the local foods was great as my face proves, right? Plus, even my name, Miso, do you remember my name, Miso? Was a hit with the local kids that he can, because it was easy for them to say and write, even foreigners, right? So isn't that another big hit of Lucky Vicky? Thanks to experience like this, I realized that how important it is not to let excessive worries hold us back. So preparing for this speech, I thought it might turn out to be a good opportunity. Let's just try it. And here I am, thanks to pelican thinking. And of course, if success means speaking flawlessly without nerves, then I can't exactly say I'm succeeding right now. But to me, success isn't just about doing well. If I can find positivity and new value, even with the small mistakes and imperfections, then I believe that's meaningful success on its own. You know, life doesn't have a right answer. There's no answer in cussing as well. That's why even I feel a bit afraid, I want to keep experimenting and challenging myself through both pelican and lucky Vicky thinking. In the end, I want to tell you the fact that people use this mindset as a meme shows that we are already actually trying to find opportunities of their own positivity. And I truly hope that everyone here will also find their own unique path through this. I believe it's all me. I believe that this balanced approach is what defines a true casting for you, and it's the point that we should all consider as we seek a meaning in life. Thank you so much.
Isn't the pointer working? Oh, it's okay. Thank you. Well, thanks, Miso, for a wonderful speech. And followed by her, we are not only passionate by our school lives and our own lives, but also at our work. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to share my story with you today. And I'm Eunjae, here to talk about 덕업일치, which a Korean term that means combining passion with profession. Today, here, I'm to talk about my own story, and I want to share it with you my journey of working in esports industry, an industry that has been both my passion and my career. So, to cheer up your attention, this is a story of mine how an ordinary student journalist ends up meeting up with new genes. I was fascinated by games during high school. I remember the excitement of watching my favorite players' intense matches and thinking, I want to be part of this world. It wasn't just the thrill of the games, but the teamwork, the strategies, and the drive for the excellence that captivated me. So I started digging deeper, studying esports matches, watching tons of tournaments, and following the stories of my favorite players, like as you see. It seems that not everyone here is so familiar with what esports is. So before I move on, here is a brief explanation of what esports is. So an esports is an electronic sport that it is a type of competition where players and teams compete in video games. These competitions can be similar to the traditional sports, like they compete in physical games, but instead of they compete in physical games like soccer or basketball, they compete in popular video games like League of Legends, Dota 2, StarCraft, Overwatch, like tons of those popular games, you know. And especially for League of Legends, as you see, they had record of almost 7 million online viewers. As I mentioned, esports events are often watched by large amounts of audiences, both in person as you saw, and also in online via streaming platforms like YouTube and Twitch. But yet, I would say that esports scene in Korea is still mostly run by men, not only in the front office, as you see in pro players, but also in the back office, like management teams and supporting staffs. That makes me quite sad. So back to my speech here. Therefore, based on my experience as a student journalist in my university's official press,
I eventually found myself working as a reporter in esports scene, as you can see. And that was a dream come true. That's where my unforgettable experience began at 2023 World's Final Media Day. Media Day offered journalists the chance to ask prominent figures their own questions and draw out their own unique and interesting insights. And Media Day also, it is a time for company, which was in Riot Games year, to announce their own huge secrets and surprise to the press right before to the public. An embargo usually happens here. Here, then, how an ordinary student journalist get on press access, which seems quite impossible. Then, how did I manage to get the press pass? The answer for that was quite simple. What did I do was, I just reached out directly to the esports media organizations, carefully put my portfolio all together, and I just shared it with various industry contacts. Through this effort, I secured a spot as a press pass and member for the Riot Games Domestic League of Legends League. Therefore, 2023, November 15, it was a Wednesday, I attended Media Day. It was held at luxurious hotel in Itaewon, which was Banyan Tree, where carefully selected influencers, journalists, and everyone that was about to be in esports was gathered. The atmosphere at Banyan Tree Hotel was exceptionally upscaled, and I guarantee that I was the youngest woman of the attendees. Professionals walking by me with huge cameras and microphones was totally insane. Like, I was so excited over there. And since Worlds is such an internationally prominent event, professional journalists from all over the world and countries like UK, Malaysia, and China, USA was in present. And of course, the entire media day was conducted in English. That was the moment where I genuinely felt grateful for all the time spending my time on English. And so far, I may have sounded a bit like game fanatic, isn't it? But here, let me share something more familiar to all of you. Here's a question. Does anyone know who the opening performer in 2023 Worlds was? Or perhaps, have you heard about a song called Gods that was released last year? And yes, it was Eugene's. Eugene's was an absolute sensation back then until today, which really led journalists' attention more on those girls than towards to the finalist teams and players. Major media outlets, both from overseas and Korea, bombarded with Eugene's questions. And here, standing admins reporters from JTBC, KBS, TBS, AP, USA Today, I felt my confidence waver and surrounded by what I considered elite media representatives. So I hesitated, letting this rare chance to ask Eugene's just slip away. Right after Q&A was ended, I regretted not seizing my opportunity right there. I had tons of questions prepared to ask Eugene's, but those silly thoughts stopped me, like, what if other journalists look down on me? Or what if other journalists doubt my credibility? I had let my own insecurities cost me a precious opportunity. So I decided to step outside the conference room and take my time and take a break. I just had those finger foods in the hotel, which really made me to relax. And I actually had a glass of champagne over there. And following by Eugene's, next in line was T1, my all-time favorite League of Legends pro team. Once the break was ended, I joined in the line of the journalists to ask T1 a question. and determined not to miss my chance this time. And when it was finally my turn, I debated about which of the 5 players to approach my questions. But I decided to embrace my responsibility as a journalist and find my fresh new angle here. Predictably, most of journalists was gravitated towards Faker. He was an internationally renowned player. I would say he is Messi of gaming. Though this led to somewhat repeated and boring questions. So I took a different approach here and showing my quick adaptability. I decided to make my questions to owner, right here. He was a player who, despite a long slump, but managed to overcome it and play a crucial role in leading the team to the finals. My question to him was, how did you manage to overcome such a long slump? And here's the video of him answering my question. Since the sound is not working, I may move on. So as it turned out, I was the only journalist to ask owner a question that day. But this, again, initially led me to doubt myself, again, wondering if my question was lack of appeal or lack of relevance. However, as it turned out, the very next day, I realized how wrong I had been when I saw the footage of my question being included in all the YouTube videos posted by participating media outlets. My question may have stood out for being unique, not asking for faker. Reflecting on the atmosphere of Media Day and finally asking owner a question makes my heartbeat racing still today. This experience cemented my resolve to pursue a career that truly aligns my passion, a Togabuchi journey. As we say again, it is a career that combines love and work. Although the 2024 World's Final recently held at London, my Media Day in 2023 experience, I will hold it as the Media Day experience, close as my turning point in my life and also in esports life. Well, of course, achieving Togabuchi life, aligning one's passion and profession requires just more than a passion. Here, definitely, there are limits what a passion alone can accomplish. This is true for all other fields, not only in esports. Therefore, after 2023, this year, 2024, I joined the Korea Esports Association as a student journalist. Working directly with official association has taught me so many new things. Before this, my main interest was only in League of Legends. But through my association work, I have the chance to cover international tournaments like Valorant and PUBG Nations Cup. And these really helped me broaden my perspective. One of my most memorable experience was I've had interviewed Argentina national PUBG teams and publishing an article based on that interview. Working in Korea Esports Association has its challenges. Due to the association's influence, my articles reached much more attention than I had expected. Not everyone reacted positively though. Some feedback I received on X even led a small controversy. And I was really surprised. And one of my friends even said that she was so upset and she said, "These are cyberbullying." And these are some comments I received on X about my articles. About this comment, which really made me horrified and scared. And of course, nowadays articles are not written by AIs, it's obvious. So I will just move on here. Well, I know that as you see and as you saw, esports industry is still an emerging field. I would say it's still kind of unstable. And therefore, somewhat, my parents and friends, they all hope me to work in huge and stable company or even in government agency. But here, I'm thinking I'm walking on totally different path here. Though I know that I am someone who has to do what I love. And it can be a little scary at sometimes, but I have determined it to follow my own passion and regardless of what are others' opinions. Lastly, for me, it is not about becoming famous or making a lot of money. It's just about being part of what I love and contributing to its own growth. Knowing that I'm helping to build a space where fans and players can be connected and celebrated together, it makes everything worth it for me. So I guess that's what my Toga Virtue is all about. Finding meaning in what you do and feeling proud of yourself. I believe, as I continue my journey in esports, I'm always looking for a new way to grow. I believe my casting, my living best, is continually moving forward and facing challenges you has on, no matter what obstacles I encounter. I want to inspire others who may have similar dreams as I do, and really want to tell them that they can convert their own passions into their own career, as long as they're willing to work on it. You may find just yourself just one day in a career that combines both passion and profession, just like I did. And I guess these are my stories. Thank you for listening my long story with me. Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful speech, Eunjae. It was really nice. Hello, everyone. My name is Subin, and today I'm going to talk about creating my alter ego, pursuing podcasting. Wait, did I only introduce Subin? Because there's also another part of me. Actually, I'm also Kubin. I have two sides of myself. Most people know me as Subin. Actually, it's the first time I talk about Kubin. Even my parents didn't know about it till now. Yesterday, they asked me, so tomorrow, what are you going to do? What are you going to speak? And I said, I'm going to talk about my alter ego Kubin. And they said, who is Kubin? They didn't know that for 10 years. So maybe you might be thinking, does she have dissociative identity disorder? Identity disorder? Maybe because also my friends asked me about this question and I said, yeah, maybe I do have. Maybe it's my personality problem or something. But to defend myself, let me introduce how I created my alter ego and why did I have to create my alter ego in Korean society. So first of all, let me introduce about alter ego. Alter ego is a secondary identity or persona, often reflecting different aspects of oneself or serving as a creative or emotional outlet.
And let's go back to 2016 to talk about how creative Subin was. So when I was 15, which always a lot of other songs like me passed like turbulent time, which has 중이병. Have you guys already heard of 중이병 before between Korean students? Because I was having like a biggest 중이병 ever, even my parents guaranteed. So before 중이병, I was really a good student and good daughter, as my parents and as my professors said. And I was always admiring my friend. This is my bestie. She is really outgoing person. She was really good at dancing. She was always leading some people and the friends. She was a top queen of my middle school. And she was my bestie, but she was quite opposite of me. So I wanted to be her. I wanted to be confident like her. I wanted to express myself and out of my comfort zone. So after this thought, I asked my bestie, how can I become that confident as you? And she told me, well, Subin, when you're with me, when you're in like free and like when you feel yourself, you have that kind of aspect too. You're also confident. You're also really free person. Maybe you should create someone else and maybe you should create some alter ego. And she created some Subin. Because maybe some people here can speak in Korean or maybe write in Korean. When you write in Subin, there's a shield like this. It literally looks like this. But when you twist like a little bit, it looks like hyok. So it comes to Kubin. So that's why. If I twist a little bit of Subin, it comes to Kubin. So that's how my alter ego become. So let me introduce Kubin. She does whatever she wants. She's not afraid of new challenges. She loves to be unorganized. Even my room now is like a mess right now. She loves going out. She loves drinking vodka and going out with friends. And she has yes and what mindset from Ariana Grande these days. And she's confident, as I told. She loves discovering the world and going outside. These are the photos from Gubin. Actually, I was in Paris last year till this summer for exchange students, and I was really a Cuban there. So this picture, as you can see, it's obviously club. And after that, it was my first time I came back home around 5 a.m. and I took the first train in Paris. Actually, my parents didn't know about this, so let's pass it. And I love to discover the world. For example, in Korea, when I go to trip, I plan everything. I'm extreme JJJ person in MBTI. But in Paris and in Europe, and when I feel like free and when I feel like Cuban, I just eating breakfast with my friend. And I and my friend was talking like, how is it London? We've never been there. And after 5 minutes, maybe we should go to today. And we actually went there. And she loves to eat girl dinner. Do you guys know about girl dinner? Girl dinner is picking up some jellies or chocolates and some not proper meal instead of proper meals like rice or like proper Korean meals. It's really different. So I love eating like this. I just ate like a slice of pizza and I'm going to pick a little bit of olive and that's all for my dinner. And she loves going out with her friends. However, let's talk about Subin, which is usually in Korea. She's shy and introverted. She's trying to eating healthy. She loves being organized. She loves self-care, especially about like self skincare because I'm Korean. And having positive mindsets, like Lucky Vicky mindset and Pelican mindset, as Miso told. And she loves journalizing. Actually, she journalized with her voice memo. She's not writing, she just recorded. And it's like really a good thing. I recommend you guys. And she also loves reading books. And this is a photos from Subin. She loves reading. She loves nature. She's eating really healthy. Can you see? It's like oranges and tomatoes and almonds and some healthy foods. And she loves baking, and she loves doing Pilates and this kind of things. So you might be asking, so who are you? You're Kubin or Subin, which is real you? Actually, both are me. Sometimes I'm Subin, I'm sometimes Kubin. Maybe today I'm more like Kubin, I guess. It depends on every day. Creating alter ego like this isn't just my personal things. Actually, it's a trend between our generations, especially Korean people just like me. We create and develop our alter ego by creating our second account on Instagram. So this is my second account on Instagram, which is called Kubinish. If you can follow, you can follow, but I'm not going to accept it because it's my private one. You can follow my main account one. So on this account, I write really personal things. Can you see, like, on the main account, I'm going to see everything in Paris is so perfect. It's so romantic. I'm going to say like this, but on Gubinish, guys, this is really disgusting city ever. I saw literally a rat yesterday. So I wrote a lot of things here. I post everything. I don't even Photoshop or something. It's just fear me. So I also post a lot of stories, maybe 10 to 20 stories a day. Even my friends sometimes DM me like girl stuff is too much. And I post a lot of memories and a lot of writings like this. However, this is my main account. Can you tell who I am? Because even if it's my main account, I can't tell who I am. There's nothing. There's like some my photo, and I just mentioned like art for cats, and there's some like photos from graves and something, and then in bone, and there's nothing. Just well Photoshop pictures and will like feed. And even on stories, I don't write anything. It's just photos. It's just really aesthetic photos, which is my vibe. So I was just wondering, why do I have to hide something on my second account? I was also a little bit depressed because I wanted to express myself more and more to other people, but I can't in this Korean society. Why do I have to make my second account, even though my main account is private one? So I asked to my Korean girlfriends, who are especially followers for my second account, Gubinish. What's your secondary account for? Because I don't want to be the only one, the depressed one and using alter egos one. So I asked. They answered, the real me that I can show on my public account. Diary, personal emotions, posts with more honest contents, unedited photos, daily records, true me. So all that meaning their main account doesn't show their true themselves. On the other hand, I also asked to my foreign friends. Actually, it's like a really fun story because when I first talked about my second account to my boyfriend who was Belgian, he told me, why do you need a second account? Do you have something problem on your real life? And I was, no, it was just for my private. It's just for my privacy. Because in other countries, building some second accounts and post real me isn't really a thing compared to Korea. Even if they have, it's for a resume. Like for me, like for resume for second accounts, it's so boring. It's not a thing. But for them, they're asking me, why do you need your second account? You can just post yourself and showcase real you on your main account. So I think it was a cultural difference between Korea and other societies. Because in other societies, being unique and being yourself, like being true yourself and being confident in front of other people, they wouldn't judge. They can judge inside, but they don't press you to be normal. But if I be queen in this society, even my parents and even maybe some of teachers who say, stay calm, stay just like as a good student or a good girl. But you know what? I don't want to be. I quit that. From now on, my homework for my alter ego is developing my alter ego Kubin more and try to use that alter ego and be Kubin in this society, no matter what other people think. To develop my alter ego, I'm going to use Brat's mindset from Charlie XCS. Have you ever heard of Brat from Charlie XCS? Because it was like a bomb this year. So this is lyrics from 360 from the Charlie XCS's going viral songs. When you're in the mirror, do you like what you see? Using that alter ego, I wanted to be the one when I see the mirror, even not about the appearance, I wanted to be the one who I really want to be. I want to be satisfied. But if I just shush down my Gubin side and just be a Subin, that what society and my parents want to be, I'm not going to be satisfied for my entire life. So after this Brat came out, I changed all of my playlists, all of my styles and everything. I was playing some Cold Cats playlists, which is like Klinger and Lana Del Rey and some Sabrina Carpenter and Ariana Grande. And after that, I changed to Brat playlist, which is Charlie XCS and everything like Olivia Rodrigo's Obsessed and Karma from Taylor Swift. And after this trend, a new trend was going on a fire on TikTok. Have you all heard of demure trend? Have you all heard of like very demure, very mindful, very kissy? I was so confused because this seems a little bit opposite from Brat, right? Because Brat should be like this, like confident. She doesn't take care of like other people. But demure, it's being like clinger and that girl and like a good girl. So I was so confused. Which one should I be? Which one is me? And which one should I be for my future myself? And I realized it's all about the balance. Maybe sometimes I can be demure. Maybe sometimes I can be Brat. When I mix these things and find somewhere I can feel like true myself, that's it. So you can ask how I develop Kubin. It depends on many people, but mine is going abroad. And when I expect nothing, but everything comes to me, I can develop Kubin. So as I mentioned, last year in around September, I left Korea to Paris, and I promised one thing to myself. I just let Subin here. Subin, you stay in Seoul. I'm going to take only Gubin. From now on, I'm only Gubin. Who is Subin? I don't know her. There was such a memorable stories about in Europe, but I'm not going to mention that because it could be boring for you guys. But one thing was sure, I experienced almost everything. It was not everything because I'm only 21 years old. So. But a lot of things which I couldn't experience if I bring Subin to Europe. But I want to mention one story is in Venezia last Christmas. I was in Venezia to help two artists, him and her, and one first female detector in Korea. I was there to help them to work, but actually I made them work because I was having like tons of questions. Because back then it was winter during Paris, and as you know, it's kind of depressing that weather. So I had to think about myself a lot inside of my room. And I asked them, I'm being so uncertainty. I'm being so unstable. How can I be stable in our early 20s? And this female detector told me sometimes
The energies of uncertainty and being a bit unrefined can have more power than the stable things. Remember, there's a lot to learn from that energy. So, finding my true self through alter ego is how I live my casting. I'm going to be Subin also, Junior, and I'm going to also be a little bit bratty Gubian sometimes. But as I thought, I'm also a girl from Korea, and I'm also the one from like great daughter, I guess. I hope so. And I'm also good friends to my friends, but sometimes I'm really a brat. I don't care about what other people think. I don't want to think. I don't want to listen what they think. I just want to grow myself a lot. But it's also me. Both are me. And now I'm not going to hide myself. And I think it's my cousin. And I hope everybody here can also create your alter ego if you're in a like bad situation in your life. Thank you for listening.